Hello, this is my first video on the server, and I'm pretty much just going to go on an unscripted rant about currencies in Minecraft. I was inspired to make this video because recently I watched two videos on what the best Minecraft currency could be, and the answer that those people gave were I felt kind of bad. One of them suggested to use wheat, which is um odd. Uh, both creators talked about like some kind of centralized authority having control over like money supply. Um, the two currencies suggested were both farmable. Like wheat is easily farmable, and nether stars too are, believe it or not, also easily farmable. I think many commenters had the right idea that diamonds are by far the best currency. Yes, diamonds do have their limitations, but it's much simpler to use than whatever a wheat-based economy would look like, or signed books backed by nether stars. Diamonds are already kinda already recognized as like the default currency on most servers, I think. I know on the server I'm playing on right now uses diamonds. But it really just comes down to what players use to barter with in the very early steps of the game. And if that happens to be diamonds, then well, the server is probably going to stick to using diamonds as the server's currency. Um, I know back in the early stages of this server's history, you could emeralds and ancient debris were also used, but I think diamonds won out as like the main form of currency because emeralds were farmable once raid farms were set up, and ancient debris is just much rarer than diamonds and much more difficult for a new player to obtain. So that's why diamonds were just better. Also, diamonds were, I mean, you could gamble netherite, but diamonds were also like the spawn casino's main currency, which kind of governed how the rest of the server's economy would play out, I guess. So spawn casino was one of the major ways that players would make money. Um, I know one big market in the early server history was selling enchanted books because villager trading halls were not quite set up yet. So if a player wanted like a specific enchanted book, it'd take a while. This, of course, would become entirely irrelevant once a proper villager trading hall was set up. So the number of different goods that could be sold has diminished by a lot once a server reaches I wouldn't exactly call it end stage, like late stage. I'm not really sure what to call it. But there comes a point in like a vanilla SMP's life where farms are able to just output so much output for so many different items, and then villagers are also able to provide so many different things that an economy kind of just collapses due to uh like the um lack of sellable items. One of the biggest orgs on the server, Diamond Dogs, were able to, other than casinos, of course, casinos were always able to make lots and lots of money. But another thing players could do to earn money, other than selling goods, was like gathering materials or building. That was a easy way to earn lots of money by basically providing a service to other players. Um, then another market that was also pretty big was selling netherite ingots. I've worked as a miner for Arasaka, currently the largest and most active organization, for over a year now as a netherite miner. I'm doing right now because netherite is, well, it's in high demand. New players want to max out their armor with it, and for richer players, having lots of netherite is kind of like a sign of wealth. It's almost it's kind of like, you know how, like it's like a commodity that you can hold on to, and its value may increase over time. So it's kind of like an investment tool for richer players. Because prices, well, netherite, its ingots weren't ever used as like currency, so instead it just kind of became a commodity that would fluctuate in price according to demand and such. Back in the early days, the price of netherite would be astronomically high due to simply how high the demand was, that there simply wasn't enough netherite in stock, and the amount that we could replenish our inventory with uh just kept running out. So prices were quite high. I think very briefly it was even at like 15 diamond blocks for just a single netherite ingot, just to make sure that players were not buying it. Although I think the highest price that remained like stable was like 6 diamond blocks per netherite ingot. And players would still buy at that price point just because netherite is that like desired of a item. Many other organizations would also attempt to sell netherite and try to enter that market. But none of them would last very long. I think the longest running competitor to Arasaka's netherite monopoly was a small, like, turtle product based company which sold, oh, that's a half block lower than it should be. Named Turtle Saka, and they sold like scutes and turtle helmets, turtle related stuff. But they also sold netherite as well. Sometimes by mining, sometimes by buying out our stock, then selling it at a higher price, which didn't really hurt our company all that much. So we're actually okay with that. But they would eventually uh, run out of business simply because they weren't able to keep up with Arasaka. Um, Other than competitors in the netherite market, there are also competitors in the like the gambling market. So I think I'm not sure if they're other attempts at a casino in the early days, but one player did build a rival casino in the end, which used automatic like gambling machines so that it didn't require like an actual dealer to be there in person to dish out cards and stuff. So they built an automatic like slot machine, an automatic um blackjack machine. And then since gambling is fun, gambling casino owners would just accrue a lot of wealth. Um, Another thing that players did try to capitalize on was like real estate. I know one organization named PHX was really into trying to do like real estate, and what they did was build apartments and sold them off. I'm not really sure how much money it made, but real estate was never a bigger market than netherite, I think. I think this is just because players, like new players, I guess some of them would like to have like a starting house or like a starter base. But like most players would rather choose, especially on like a vanilla SMP where you're kind of free to do what you'd like, is like find a different place to build their base than and kind of like build their own style rather than be in what someone else has built. So I don't think so. I think that's why real estate never really uh reached the heights that netherite did. I think another thing that hurt the real estate market was simply because new players could get pretty much high like there's new player kits that they can get, which just gives them full set of diamond armor and tools and even an elytra, and that'd kind of just be considered late game loot for many players. So that means like they don't really need like a starter base to get themselves set up since they're already pretty much set up with the new player kit. Ooh, a three vein. Of course, there was also another attempt at real estate with the city of Clearwater, which was basically like a player run planned city, which was pretty much meant to be like a second spawn because um like actual spawn city was really messy simply because players were kind of allowed to build and do whatever, which kind of gives Spawn City like its own cool, chaotic vibe, but also is very laggy for a lot of players and didn't really look that good. And I think uh, Clearwater had like a lot of like regulations to kind of prevent lag or like bad looking builds. And basically, in order to build at Clearwater, you had to buy a plot with diamond blocks. And if you broke rules and regulations, you'd have to pay a fine. I think that would probably be the most successful model of a real estate market yet. Who knows? Essentially, once a vanilla SMP kind of hits the late game with many farms built up that can provide a bunch of free materials, economics is kind of hard to do. But there are still ways like casinos, netherite, and real estate. There's a few other ideas I have too, but that's about it for a basic rundown of this server's economics, pretty much. And I know I kind of strayed off the plot, because I know originally we were supposed to be talking about diamonds. I guess one last thing I'd like to bring up is one issue that diamonds did have, is that oops, uh they're almost like a single diamond is almost too valuable in comparison to farmable products that like in order to sell, like if you want to profit off your farm, you'd kind of have to do bulk orders only, and some players like they don't need a shulker full of like dark prismarine. They only need like a stack or two. But a diamond is like too much that they're willing to pay for that. So what I had the idea to issue what are called Arasaka notes, and basically one actually no, 16 Arasaka notes is equivalent value to one diamond, and that was the exchange rate. And basically, this would allow much easier transactions for cheaper products and allow small shops and businesses to basically conduct their shops easier without having to rely on just doing bulk orders. Um, but given that the server has no more players left, I haven't really seen smaller shops take up using Arasaka notes. The one shop that uses Arasaka notes, um, the cafe at the Modern Literature Museum, but it is what it is. Economies also work best when there's like many players who engage in the use of the currency between many different people and groups and different services. Uh, Kind of breaks down once there's like only a couple people online. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you'd like to see more, hit that like button and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about what do you think the best currency in Minecraft should be? Or what are some ways to like maintain an actual functioning economy on a vanilla SMP? I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.